Tomorrow is the last day of the Sukkot celebration, and I was thinking about the Sukkah. The Bible shows that the patriarchs lived in the tents. The entire nation of Israel also lived in tents during their journey from Egypt to their promised land. What is the reason why you have to make a Sukkah? Why we don't have to build tents? I will explain you after we read some parts of Leviticus chapter 23. I'm going to read verse 39, 41, 42 and 43. On exactly the 15th day of the 7th month, when you have gathered in the crops of the land, you shall celebrate the feast of the Lord for 7 days, with a rest on the first day and a rest on the 8th day. You shall thus celebrate it as a feast to the Lord for 7 days in the year. It shall be a perpetual statute throughout your generations. You shall celebrate it in the 7th month. You shall live in booths for 7 days. All the native born in Israel shall live in booths, so that your generations may know that I had the sons of Israel live in booths when I brought them out from the land of Egypt. I am the Lord our God. Your God. Sukkah means temporary shelter, stable or hut. Sukkot is the plural form. The Sukkah protected man and animal from the harsh elements like scorching sun during the day, the rain, and of course also the cold at night. And is therefore primarily a symbol of Yahweh's protection. The Sukkah is also more temporary shelter. It originally doesn't last long. With Sukkot, we remember that the Israelites were living in booths when they were delivered from Egypt. But there is also a prophetic meaning. That one I explain now. For 7 days we live in a Sukkah. 1 day is standing for 1,000 years. For 6 days, that is 6,000 years, we live in God's shelter, Yahweh's shelter, in the kingdom of Satan. For 1 day, this is 1,000 years, we live in Yahweh's shelter in the 1,000-year kingdom of Yeshua. From the 8th day going, we live in Yahweh's eternal kingdom without temporary shelter. That one is no longer needed. There are no sins, there is no death, no illness, no pain, no danger. On day 1, we celebrate the start of the 1,000-year reign of Yeshua. That's why day 1 is a Shabbat. And on day 8, we celebrate the start of the eternal kingdom. That's why this day is also a Shabbat. In between we celebrate, but it is no Shabbat. The tent was a place where you came together as a family at the end of each day. When you came home to your tent after a hard day work, you were happy. This tent represents the joy of being together in a family or an extended family, like we have this in our own homes. The tent was primarily a tent in which you enjoyed company and is because of that a symbol of communion with Yahweh. This tent is strong and lasts a long time before it has to be replaced. It's a home. Yahweh talks about Sukkot or booths because he wants to emphasize that we were and are protected by him all the time while we are in this world, and that we are in this world temporary. Like the Israelites were also protected by Yahweh in the wilderness while they were on their way to the promised land, their home. So are we now in the wilderness, but know that we are also on our way to the promised land, Yahweh's kingdom, our home, and we will there have also a house. By the way, this celebration is forever and for everyone on earth. We're supposed to go to Jerusalem every year to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles and to worship Yahweh and Yeshua. We read this in Zechariah chapter 14. We're going to read verse 16 and 17. Then it will come about that any who are left of all the nations that went against Jerusalem will go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to celebrate the Feast of Booths. And it will be that whichever of the families of the earth does not go up to Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, there will be no rain on them. Only we have a problem nowadays. There is no temple and Yeshua is not there yet. Question is, if it's now also mandatory to go to Jerusalem, or do we have a freedom to choose? I think because of the fact that the kingdom of Yahweh and Yeshua is not physical here, we are allowed to worship Him where we are. This is the message for today. May Yahweh bless you abundantly.